I mean, I had to laugh when I heard Trump say that he wants to invite Russia back into the G7. The Russians came out and went, "Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. We're part of the organization of the largest economies in the world, and the G7. Hardly any of those people could qualify." And think about it: Great Britain's economy, non-qualifying; the French economy, the German economy, nope; the Italian economy, nope. Europe doesn't have a functioning economy. I mean, yeah, it's there, but it's not a world leading. This isn't the G7 is no longer the elites that sit down. The Indians are sitting there chewing their meal, going, waving at the Europeans, going, how do you guys like that? We're up here in first class. How's that? You're not even in business class, are you? Yeah, that's right. Economy. The Russians are living large right now. Europe's nothing. They're finished. It's hasta luego. Goodbye. Europe is pathetic. Europe is weak. Europe is nothing, but they can't admit it because they fooled themselves into believing there's something, and they're not. Everything about her exudes artificiality, hypocrisy, but she's a nobody. That's all Europe is. It's economy class, not even the good economy class, where you pay a little bit extra moon, you get the extra knee space. They're back in the real bad economy class where we're all crammed in. That's all they rate. And soon they're just going to be baggage. They don't even get a seat. So you make the mistake of believing they actually care about Ukraine or trying to do the right thing by Ukraine. They condemned 1 million Ukrainians to die. That's what they did. They did it because they have a artificial understanding of Europe's role in the world. They think Europe's a player. Europe's not a player. Peace through strength. Well, good luck with the strength part. I mean, that's like, me going to the gym with a young Arnold Schwarzenegger and bragging about how strong we are as a team. Strength, baby, strength. We're so strong. And then Schwarzenegger leaves, and I'm left there looking at the weight room going, and everybody's like, where's that strength now, Ritter? I lost Schwarzenegger. Europe only has strength when America's involved. We are the strength. We are the only strong partner out there. No one else in Europe has any strength, any measurable strength. And so why do they keep talking about it? I mean, Europe can't pony up. They don't have anything to put on the table. They don't have any viable military force. None. NATO is a fake entity, a paper tiger, artificiality. It only works with America. We not only have to be the glue that holds it all together, but once we put it all together, we then have to bring in the Schwarzenegger-like character to be the real strength, because Europe is just a pathetic old man who can't lift weights anymore, like me. So I don't know why we keep playing her, and I don't know why we keep playing Collis, and I don't know why we keep playing any of these European officials. They don't matter. The only people in Europe that matter are national leaders. But the national leaders that have subordinated themselves to Europe have made themselves irrelevant, like Olaf Scholz. Look at the panic of Scholz right now. I have to declare a national emergency now. Why? Because America's not backing us up. Oh, you've decided you want to be a sovereign nation state now, a national emergency, because you realize that Europe is fake. And America's not there to hold your hand. And wait till he finds out we're pulling out 20,000 troops. I mean, I think that's the number. It might be more. Because we're just done with Europe. Europe is a failed experiment. We're not talking about Russia attacking Poland. We're talking about Poland threatening Russia by initiating offensive military operations that they don't have the ability to do. So no, nobody's a threat to Russia. And that's the reality. And because Russia knows this, Russia's not overreacting. Russia's done what is necessary to strengthen its borders. Because Finland and Sweden joined NATO, Russia has to respond. That's why they have 70,000 troops in the new St. Petersburg military district. So they solved that problem. They reinforced Kaliningrad as necessary. They reinforced up in the Kola Peninsula as necessary. They've given Belarus nuclear weapons and Oreshnik. Again, come on, Poland, really. Bring it on. Nothing that Lukashenko would like to any more than to go release the Oreshnik and let 9 Belarus Oreshniks fire into Poland and kill everything it touches. There's not a single European nation that threatens Russia. There's not a collection of European nations that threaten Russia. Poland's nothing. Nothing. Literally nothing. What are they going to do? Invade? Poland will do nothing. Nobody in Europe will do anything. They can't. I, again, ask people to take a look at the true state of affairs of the Polish military. They may have a lot of soldiers, but now try and take those soldiers, organize them in a fashion where they can project power in an offensive strike, thrusting deep through Belarus, through Ukraine to actually threaten Russia. Imagine the logistics problems that are created by that, lines of communication. And then imagine them trying to survive as the Russians, destroy their entire logistical infrastructure in Poland with longer-range strike missiles that Poland doesn't have a defense against, destroys the Polish Air Force in place, destroys Polish command and control, destroys the Polish energy infrastructure, and isolates and annihilates every one of the troops that got extended forward. The entire Polish army would be destroyed. That's the true reality of NATO. It's a joke, it's a farce, it's fake. And now you have the Europeans talking about creating a European army. With what command structure? How is that going to work? Are the French going to subordinate themselves to the Poles? Because the Poles say, we're a frontline state. We have to be in command. You think Germans are going to let the Polish command German troops? It isn't going to happen. America commands because we kicked everybody's ass. We were large and in charge. But when we withdraw, the British? What moral authority do the British have? How many troops they could bring? They used to have the British Army on the Rhine, 90 to 100,000 strong. Not anymore. Now they can't even fill up a soccer stadium. So the British are going to be in charge? The Poles? Nobody's going to listen to the Poles. The French? They've got nothing. They can't bring anything. The Germans? They're confused. There's going to be an election coming up, in March? And AfD may win. And when that happens, God help Europe. Because you think J.D. Vance, put a turd in the punch bowl with his speech in Munich? Wait till AfD says, yeah, we're out of the European Union. And then now Sikorsky's great plan for there will be no more Europe. Germany withdraws from the European Union. It's dead. It's gone, finished. So it's all fantasy right now. It's just stupid. Sikorsky's the same idiot that posted a photograph of the gas bubbling up after the Nord Stream attack and said, thank you, America. This is the level of intellectualism that we're dealing with here. So why do you take anything this man says seriously? He's not a serious player. He's a Russophobe. He's irrational, and his words have no link to real power. Nothing he says is going to happen at all. So the Europeans really need to be careful here. I mean, you were happy to be our subordinates for several decades, but now the reality has to come home that you are our subordinates. That means that you literally have to do what we tell you to do. You're not sovereign. You gave that up a long time ago, and you can't afford at this juncture to suddenly unilaterally declare yourselves to be sovereign entities. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. You bought into this game. You have to pay the price. So Europe just has to be really careful about making threats to America, because see, we can follow through on every threat we issue. They can't. Without American involvement, every single European defense industry collapses. Without American involvement, every single European defense industry collapses. There's not a single European defense industry that can survive without the Americans somehow subsidizing it, etc. Left on their own volition, they will all collapse because they aren't organized to survive as sovereign entities. We can shut down each one of the European economies. Not a single European economy or a collection of your economies can shut down America's economy. So what I say is we got the big three. Divide the world into three spheres of influence, nuclear influence, and give the lead. Each one of these spheres, you get a lead, a Russian lead, an American lead, a Chinese lead. And you say, as we negotiate as the three, we have to also negotiate with these other people. Everything has to be linked together so that as we go down, we all come down together towards the same objective, which is zero. And it could happen. Donald Trump as the president can make this happen because he's the only one that's willing to think outside of the box. Hell, we couldn't even engage in discussions with the Russians because we played stupid games like, well, the NATO deterrence is a NATO deterrence. They're American bombs. No, but it's NATO deterrence, so they can't factor into anything we're talking about bilateral with the Russians. What about the French and the British? No, that's French and the British, but they're part of NATO. Well, yes, they are. But the Russians like, how can we have, that's why the Russians can't go any lower they are. Right now, the numbers they have are the numbers that are needed to deal not only with America, but France, Germany, and NATO, which is a nuclear issue. If you want to get the Russians to go lower, all these things have to go down too. And eventually, if you're United States, you got to convince the French and the British, you just give them up. Give them up because we're going down to zero. We're going to create a situation where we don't have to worry about that. There's no longer a need for a nuclear deterrence anymore. Give them up and we get down to zero. We get the North Koreans to get rid of it. Now, Donald Trump says, I want to denuclearize North Korea, but you can't do that unless America is willing to start. So that's why he's saying, yeah, we got to start bringing it down too.